Hello and welcome to The Right Mama with Jennifer Aline, a creative space where we talk about the writing process, the publishing industry, and motherhood chaos. My voice is a little bit hoarse today because for the fifth time this year, I was attacked by the bug, the cold, the crazy sickness that comes around this house. My immune system is the worst, but we're going to push through because it is the holiday season and I need to be as jolly as possible. We will try. If you haven't already noticed, something's a little different about me. My hair. I chopped a lot of my hair off, and I did it because, well, 2020 is around the corner and it's going to be a big year. So I thought, why not do something big to start that year off? Let's chop it. Also because it's a little bit easier when it's shorter, and I thought, let's make 2020 start off a little bit easier maybe with my hair. Maybe that'll solve all of my problems. But it was fun. It was scary. I'm used to having the crazy long hair, but I like it. It's a good change. And in this video, we are going to talk about 2020 and the decade that we have coming at us right now, and maybe what I hope will happen in the next decade or the next year. Usually, I don't know what the heck is going to happen in my life in 5 minutes. Even though I'm somebody who has like 3 calendars, I have a crazy obsession with scheduling and making sure my life is somewhat organized. I have 2 toddlers. I really don't know what the heck is about to happen in my life. This video is part 2 of the series where we talk about the future. Last video we talked about the last 10 years, and this time we are talking about the next year. So let's get to it. Goal number 1 for 2020 and the next 10 years is to improve my patience. I do think that this kind of is a good starting ground for the rest of my little goals I've made for myself, because patience really does help a lot of other things. I can be very impatient with myself, impatient with many dynamics in my life, whether that's finances, my writing, my girls, my toddlers. There's a lot of things that I find I'm not always patient with. So I think that really improving my patience is something that will help a lot of other things in the long run. I also think it's pretty important that I improve my patience, especially because this year, or in 2020, I will be editing my debut novel. And that brings us to number 2 for our goals. Another goal is to publish my debut novel with the small press that I'm represented by the end of 2020. That is our goal. And I start edits literally like this week, my first round of edits. So patience will help me when it comes to my edits. I do not like to edit. It is not my favorite thing in the world. I like the creative process. I like to create the world, the story, the plot, the characters. I do not like to change things around. I don't like going back and looking at those mistakes when it comes to grammar or plot holes or sentence structure, things like that. I don't have the patience for it. I like creating. So, the patience does kind of overlap into goal number 2. But the second goal is to publish this book and get it out there, to really market myself in 2020. I really want to be seen as a legitimate published author. I really want to reach out and collaborate with a lot of local businesses, small businesses, see what we can do. I want to do a lot of touring, honestly, across the state. I really want to try to do book signings at a lot of Barnes and Nobles, coffee shops, local bookstores, independently owned stores, things like that. I really want to get that going for this book, and I'm really excited to see what happens. But the first step is patience when it comes to editing. Goal number 3 for 2020 is to start writing my second women's fiction novel and finish my second women's fiction novel. This goal kind of just in the last month or so came up because for November, for NaNoWriMo, I started writing a young adult book. And I used to write young adult. I love young adult fiction. I love diving into those crazy struggles that a lot of teenagers go through. I went through a lot of struggles in high school, and I like writing stories that are relatable for those who are going through those struggles. However, I took a step back this past month since NaNoWriMo ended and realized that my women's fiction book just got picked up. It's coming out hopefully at the end of 2020, and I want to build an audience, a following when it comes to my writing. And if I jump right from women's fiction to young adult, I might lose some readers. I think if I continue to write in the women's fiction genre for at least a few books, and if I do publish with this small press for these books, that I'll have a good readership behind them. And I think that from a business standpoint, really continuing my women's fiction genre might be the best choice. And I like it. I already have an idea in my brain for this next book. So a goal for 2020 is to start and finish my next women's fiction book. Goal number 4. And this is one that, well, I do want to start now focusing on, as well as 2020 into the next decade. I find it to be very important, is not to please everybody and focus on pleasing my mental state. I have a tendency to try to make everybody happy, especially when it comes to traveling and having my family see the girls, my friends see the girls, visit with everybody, and stay in contact with everybody that I know who I find important. And so that becomes very overwhelming, very exhausting, and mentally draining sometimes. This brings me back to the summer. This past summer, I traveled a lot. I wanted to make sure everybody was happy, that everybody got to see us. And by the end of the summer, I didn't want to go anywhere. I stayed in my hometown, well, where I live now, for 2 months. I told everybody, I'm not going anywhere. I'm done. And I'm really glad I did that. But for this next year, especially with all the amazing things that are going on in 2020, I need to focus on pleasing myself, my family, and not always focusing on everybody else first. It may sound selfish, but when it comes to your own mental state and your own anxieties, sometimes you have to stand back and do that. And that's something that I think will be really healthy for me to do moving forward, is to really calculate what and who matters, and what's worth all the traveling, what's worth all that effort when it comes to pleasing others and making other people happy. Yes, I want to make everyone happy, but it's not always feasible. So this is a goal that I do think I can make happen. It's going to take patience. It's going to take a lot of, strength on my part, but I think I need to do that. And that also kind of moves into goal number 5, the final goal I'm going to talk about today. Goal number 5 is I need to really focus on the friendships and relationships that matter. I need to focus on really narrowing down those in my life who matter the most to me, that when I put that effort forward, I come out of it feeling great. Sometimes I put that effort forward and it's more stress than it is excitement or happiness or joy. That's not always fair. And if I'm always the one putting in that effort for that friendship or that relationship, it's not always worth it. And I'm at that time in my life where, unfortunately, if I have to cut ties with people or with, certain parts of my life, I might have to slowly do it. And I think that making that a goal for this next year, next decade, really focusing on the friendships and the relationships that matter, it will help my mental state. In a way, it may make me a little bit more upset and may make me a little bit more stressed, because I don't want to cut off friendships. I don't want to end, relationships with people that have really impacted my life in a great way, but a lot of us are in different places now. And if I'm the one putting in all that effort, it becomes exhausting. And I think that that's important for us all, especially if we are, in our mid-20s, our 30s, and we're adults with families and jobs, and we're really trying to accomplish things. We need to stand back and focus on those who matter. And it's that time of our life that we can't please everybody, like goal number 4. So goal number 5 is really me not cutting out those who don't matter, but kindly cutting out those who don't matter in a way where I'm not going to put all the effort into those connections if I'm not getting the joy out of that connection that I should be. So that's goal number 5. Went over 5 goals that I have for 2020, for the next decade. And I'm sure that I have a bazillion other goals that I'd love to accomplish. I have a whole to-do list every single day. And do I hit all those marks on the to-do list? Heck no. Heck no do I meet all those marks. I don't do everything on those to-do lists. However, I hope moving forward in the next 10 years, I do want to find a literary agent. That's another thing that I would love to do. If I'm successful with this small press, I would love to continue to write with this small press and build my readership. I'd love to move into another house, have a really great office. I love my corner, of course, but I'd love to be able to put all my typewriters up on the wall, things like that. These little goals I'm kind of throwing at you right now at the end of this video are kind of long-term goals that will happen, but are not as important as those 5 that I went over. So let's review those 5 goals and really, really hope that I hit those goals in the next year and the next decade. Goal number 1 is more patience. I need to have more patience with myself, more patience with my girls, more patience with the fact that I am making money, but it doesn't just get thrown at me. Money is going to slowly come in, and I need to be patient with that fact. I need patience with everything going on in my life and edits, because the editing process is about to start. That brings me to goal number 2. I'm going to publish my first book in 2020. I hope. That's our goal. Our goal is to get that book out at the end of 2020. That's goal number 2. Number 3 is to write and finish my second women's fiction novel, which is really exciting because I have a really good idea that I want to jump on. Number 4 is don't try to please everybody. Please your mental state first. And like I said, I can't please everybody. I can't do it all if I'm not fully there mentally. I need to try to please myself as well and really make it work all around. And number 5, I need to focus on those who matter, those who bring joy to my life more than stress to my life. And if that means focusing on certain people and slowly, not putting effort towards other relationships, that's what I have to do. And it may sound selfish, but I think everybody at a certain point in their life needs to do something like that. So those are some of my goals for 2020 and beyond. And I hope that you guys accomplish everything that you set out to accomplish. Like I said, I really don't know what's going to happen next week or the week after. Besides, I am getting emails with content edits very soon. But I hope that I can at least touch upon these goals, and I hope your goals work out the best they can. So if you like this kind of chatty content, subscribe below, ring the bell, and get notified whenever I publish. I publish my posts every Friday, and do a thumbs up if you like it, and comment below if you have any other kind of discussion-y topics you want to talk about. So I hope that your new year is wonderful. Stay creative, and of course, drink that coffee.